Hi guys, Mr. Lead here. Today we're continuing on our topic of microbiology we've already looked at cells, now we're going to look at specialized cells. Alright, so what do I mean by that? Well, so here's some learning intentions. The aim of this lesson is to further develop your understanding of cell theory. So cell theory just refers to the whole idea or understanding of what cells are. The intention is also for you to consolidate understanding on functions of cell organelles, and also for you to understand that large organisms like ourselves have specialized cells, cells that perform particular functions. You should, by the end of this, be able to explain these specialized cells, relate the structure of the cell to its function, and also explain what tissues, organs, and organ systems all do. All right, so we've covered the fact that all living things are made of cells. Here we have a leaf, and the leaf is zoomed up in enough so that you can actually see all the little building blocks of cells. Remember, we're made of lots of little building blocks of cells that are all stuck together to form us. But the thing is, last lesson I went through this diagram. And the thing is, not all cells look like this. It's not all cells are little blobs with little big nucleuses in the middle. And that's what we're looking at today. We're looking at the different types of cells. In a multicellular organism like ourselves, you need lots of different specialized cells. In the human body, we have 50 trillion cells, and there are more than 200 different types of cells in our body. We're going to learn just a few. So the first one is the muscle cells. With muscle cells, you have more mitochondria in them. Why do you think there'd be more mitochondria in a muscle cell? Well, remember, the mitochondria has the task of generating energy. Okay, so muscle cells obviously need a lot of energy, therefore they need more mitochondria. So there's three types: skeletal muscle cells, which attach to the bone; smooth muscle cells, which move involuntarily. You don't move smooth muscle cells consciously. So think your diaphragm, it's just constantly moving up and down and causing you to breathe, or your intestines, or things in your digestive system. Then you've also got cardiac muscles. These are the muscles that attach to your heart, and they have even more mitochondria. Why do you think they'd be designed this way? Why do you think that cardiac muscles need more mitochondria? Have a write down and think about that answer. All right. Next specialized cell, we've got nerve cells. So in our nervous system, we have our brain and all our nerves. The nerve cells are actually really long. So I mentioned before, cells are tiny little things, but these guys, actually, they're small, they're thin, but they're really long. You can get nerve cells that are up to 1 meter long. This is because these cells have the job of sending messages fast. And if you have lots of little nerve cells connected to each other, it's a lot more inefficient to send messages through each cell. You've got to send a message through one cell, and then that cell's going to pass it on to the next, which passes on to the next. If you have just one long one, the message just shoots down it. That's why the nerve cells are long, and the long part of the cell is called the axon. This is what a nerve cell looks like, and the axon's the long part. All these other parts, we won't focus on too much. You'll learn more about them later on in science. Okay. Next, we have blood cells. So our blood here is made up of 4 components. Red blood cells have the job of carrying oxygen to everywhere in our body. If you didn't know, blood is kind of like a highway. Highways are full of trucks that transport things all across a town. We have blood all across our body, and the blood is transporting oxygen all across our body because different organs and different parts of the body want oxygen. Oxygen is used to make energy in the mitochondria. So red blood cells are like little trucks carrying oxygen, but also all across our blood is white blood cells. These things fight infections. So they're kind of like the police of the blood highways. We also have platelets. Now think about this. You just cut yourself, and then slowly over time, a scab grows. What is that scab made of? The scab is made of platelets. They're like tiny little fragments of cells that help clot up blood. They make clots on the outside in the scabs, or inside the body as well. They can help clot things. And lastly, we have plasma. This is not cells. This plasma is not made of cells. Plasma is just a liquid. Plasma is the liquid that carries around all the cells and proteins and everything in the blood. No, this is different plasma to the state of matter that is plasma. Same word, different functions. Anyway, next we have fat cells. There are two types. Brown fat cells are full of mitochondria, and they're typically seen in infants. They produce lots of heat. That's because infants don't have a lot of mass on them to insulate themselves. The more body fat we have, everyone needs body fat, okay? Like everyone needs it. But if you've got body fat, that can help insulate you and insulate your vital organs. Little infants don't have any of that. So they need these brown fat cells that can help generate more energy and more heat for them. Then as you get older, you get more white fat cells. These guys help store energy and also insulate the body. All right, next we have all the different plant cells, and this is the last thing we'll focus on. There are 5 different types of plant cells are mentioned here. First one is photosynthetic cells. So I mentioned before plant cells have chloroplasts. They don't all have chloroplasts. Not every part of the plant will photosynthesize. I mean, think about like a pumpkin, right? The pumpkin itself is orange. It's not going. If it's orange and if it's not green, it's likely to not have many chloroplasts in it, because chloroplasts are green and help the plant to photosynthesize. So the pumpkin itself wouldn't have many photosynthetic cells, but the stalk and the leaves would. So if it's green, it probably has a lot of photosynthetic cells and a lot of chloroplasts. Next, we've got guard cells. Picture like little tiny doorways on the leaves that help open up and let gases in and close up when they're good. The guard cells are these two guys. One guard cell here, one guard cell here. They thin out to open up the little hole, the stomata, that's the name of the hole, and they become thicker to close up the hole. Structural cells, so these are cells just in the trunks of trees and things like that. Conducting cells, these are these help cells combine together to make straws. So you can get a straw in plants called xylems and straws in plants called phloem. Xylems transport water and phloem transport nutrients. They're found in like the stalks of plants. And lastly, root hair cells. These help absorb more water, and you would obviously find them in roots. So those are all just a handful of different specialized cells. What you should really be focusing on is understanding why a cell is structured a little bit differently to all other cells and how that helps it carry out its function. Okay, thanks for watching.